Throughout the year I've been working on three main priorities: space, exam feedback, and breaking down barriers between academics and students. There's been a lot of progress on space. We'll be finding out how to book some more space in 32 Lincoln fields for you to study very, very soon. Exam feedback, still working with departments on that. We've got IR on board and we may have another department, but I'll find out more about that very shortly. And finally, we're going to be putting on loads of fun events throughout the year. And one more thing I'd mention as well as those three main priorities, we've been working on the register to vote in the general election campaign. Make sure you're registered, you don't have to be British to vote, and it'd be great to hear LSE students' voice in this general election campaign.
A big thing that I did this term was the Wellbeing Project, where we had a lot of wellbeing activities throughout the school. Linked to that, I've been meeting with the school about the dean system, good campus relations, and food in general. I've also been trying to work pretty hard on relationship with committees, trying to see how we can integrate better with them. We've also had a lot of awareness weeks, which the PTOs are led on, and I've tried to support, such as Global Village Week, which Alison played a big part in as well, and the Green Week, which is happening right now. Thank you to everyone that came and listened to the motions yesterday. And finally, I'm also working on International Students Campaign with a lot of our officers and our staff members, so look out for that over the next few weeks.
So I've been working on trying to get student representation on scholarship panels and also postgrad funding in general, and how we can improve the channels of funding for postgrads, especially for home students, as there is pessimism around postgrad studying for home students. And another thing I've been trying to work on is GTAs and how we can get a better deal for them, and probably go to the postgraduate conference, AU's postgraduate conference at the end of the month. And finally, we've had two great socials, big success obviously, and if you want writing socials, please do let me know. Thank you.
So I've been working on my AU for All campaign this year. At the beginning of the term we did a AU Leadership Day for all club and team execs. That was really successful, and we hope to reproduce that next year for other successive club and team execs. I've got my AU for All banner that we made with the AU exec, and all AU teams will be taking photos with that. We've already got some photos of that, and there'll be an exhibition at the end of this term showing them off and the purpose behind that. Hopefully you can get into it. So I'm trying to get sport more on the agenda of the school and get people within the school to take it more seriously, our staff and students, because our clubs do a lot and they should be recognised for that. So it's about getting important staff members on the athletics committee, which I've been doing, and we'll have Stuart Corbridge attending soon. And lastly, I'm doing grad ball interviews today, so hopefully you guys will have a great grad ball by the end of the year. Thank you very much.
So what a term it's been! Basically this year I've been working on getting a rent guarantor scheme in place. Recently that was passed, which hopefully you've seen, so I'll be working on the implementation of that to make sure that students who don't have a guarantor can get one under LSE, and that will be in place for the next academic year. I've been working on international fees, as you've probably seen. So far we've secured an increase in scholarship support for international students in line with the increase in fees every year. Obviously it's not enough, so we'll be making sure that they do freeze the fees, or at least tie it to inflation. I'm also working on halls fees. They're projected to increase by 4% again this year, which is going to be extortionate for students and price them out of accommodation. So I'm working with halls committees to make sure that your accommodation is affordable and that we can freeze the fees. And then we've been doing some other things as well. So we had the reorientation period, which was really successful. There's more to build on for next year. We've had the Good Night Out Saucy, which launched our Good Night Out campaign. All of our student staff and bar staff are trained on how to deal with sexual harassment on your nights out. And we're passing a sexual harassment policy next week to make sure that it's part of our union policy. I've also been working closely with the Islamic Society on the counter-terrorism bill and opposing that, and LSE has been one of the leading voices against it. Unfortunately it's passed, but I think resisting that and making our voices heard is a really important fight. And lastly, we've been working on our food prices in our catering facilities, and we'll continue to review those to make it as cheap as possible for you. And we've just ordered some halal pies. So it's been a great term so far at LSESU. I hope you have a great rest of the term and good luck for your exams.